If we were to say, I want a man to be vulnerable, it's so sexy to me when a man's vulnerable to me. It's like, no, this is a man you're already sleeping with. If a man you didn't find attractive, if a homeless person came up to you and was like, Jesse, I just want to let you know, like, here's some flowers, and like, I just want to let you know that I've been going through some things, and I'm really like trying to get in touch with my inner person, you'd be like, you wouldn't find that attractive.
And I disagree.
You would not find a homeless person bringing you flowers.
Not
attractive.
a homeless person per se. I'm talking about, I have seen plenty of like reality shows or like clips on the internet. Somebody, I have no idea who this person is. And they will tell a story and it'll be a sad story or a vulnerable situation. Yes. And I'm like, I fucking love him.
Yeah, but do you love him enough to have sex with him?
If I was single,
okay.
Depending on who that person was.
And does he have other attractive qualities to him?
I'm sure.
Okay, so those attractive qualities then allow for you to experience the comfort that then makes.
But it wouldn't be a turn off. You're saying like if some random person came up to me immediately right out the gate being vulnerable, I'd be turned off. It wouldn't be a turn off.
So we're agreeing. You're just not using the same words that I'm using. I'm saying attraction and comfort, and you're putting attraction and comfort as both of being attraction. And what I'm telling you is that when you can separate the two, the language you use with men will make more sense to men. Because we don't have these two facets of attraction triggers. We just have attraction. Women have attraction and comfort. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We don't say, man, that girl is fine. I wish she'd be more vulnerable and bring me flowers. We don't, our doesn't get harder because she brought us flowers. Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't have comfort triggers like women do. And so because of that, like we're just describing an innate sex difference and people find that offensive. And I don't think it makes men or women worse or better. No, it just makes us different.
I don't think that it's the fact that people find it offensive because of what you're saying. I think it's when you lump all men or all women into
Sure. So I say in general, women in general have picked a small group of men that they find to be the most attractive, and those men have had more sexual access than all the other men combined. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but if those women want the monogamy, why would they choose the man that they feel is accessible to more women?
So great that you asked this question. It's because we as human beings, we can have a logical thought, but that's not indicative of our actions. Like for instance, we all know we shouldn't be eating McDonald's French fries, and yet 1 billion French fries will be consumed this month. We know this to be the case, even though we shouldn't be eating them. We shouldn't be eating these sweets or consume, like I love Diet Dr. Pepper. We shouldn't be consuming aspartame and sucralose, but we still do this. We smoke cigarettes, we drink alcohol. Just because we know we shouldn't do a thing, we'll still do it. And often in the case with men and women, the one that's bad for us, the mysterious partner,
I was going to say the mystery.
The woman that's harder to get, or the man who's more mysterious and stoic, we find that person to be more attractive, even though from every logical standpoint, that's the worst person for us to date. We still do so anyway. And the reason why we do so is because other people pursue them. And so that's one of the attraction cues we have. Way more for men than it is for women. For men, when we see a woman that other men want, that doesn't make us more attracted to her. Like what I'm saying is, do you remember Salma Hayek in Dusk Till Dawn? She's amazing. She's really, really, I use it because at the time, that was like the hottest thing anybody had ever seen on a
TV,
movie. At that time.
Yeah.
She's 60 years old now, but she still looks really,
she's
still pretty attractive.
Yeah.
But if you watch Salma Hayek in Dusk Till Dawn, in that clip, no man didn't find her attractive. And no man, had they been able to do it without any sort of consequences, wouldn't have tried to have sex with her. Right? In fact, Weinstein, the producer's name who went to jail, he actually tried to have sex with her right afterwards. We all found her attractive. In fact, women found her attractive. Another example would be Margot Robbie in The Wolf of Wall Street. Everyone found her attractive. But do you understand how it's like everyone found her attractive?
Yeah.
Everyone. Men and women found her attractive.
I mean, some people are just classically beautiful.
Yes.
Undeniably beautiful.
Correct.
You can't
you could probably say Katharine Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's. Like, she's just classically beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to look at that and say, do we feel the same way about men? There are some women who prefer African-American men who think that Chris Hemsworth is not attractive. There's a lot of them. Women, on the other hand, have this massive variance of things that they find attractive.
Yeah.
And so because of that, as men, it's a positive and it's a negative. It's a positive, or it's a negative in that, like, if you're a really good looking guy, there's some women who still won't have sex with you, even if you're really good looking. You know, probably a bunch of male strippers that are in the city who you look at them and like, that is an aesthetically pleasing man, but he's gross and you wouldn't have sex with him.
I would never touch him.
For sure. We as men, we don't see things the same way. We would still find a stripper who's attractive, and they'd still have sex with her.
You'd still have sex with her, you just wouldn't wife her.
There you go. And now you understand the difference. Like, that's exactly what the difference is. For sure.
But does that mean that the men have less standards and don't care
when it comes to short-term
about
sexual
their bodies?
When it comes to short-term sexual access, absolutely 100% yes. If you're saying that, the question you're asking, here's your clip. If your question you're asking is, are men sluttier than women? When it comes to short-term sexual access, the answer is obviously yes.
Okay, but that's the difference though. A lot of the content that you talk about is not a statistical
Almost
fact.
all of it is statistical. Almost all of it is
You can't
statistical.
say that because, like we just discussed, to some women they'll find a certain kind of man super attractive.
Yes.
And then other women will be super turned off by
No,
that.
but I talk about that. So in general, women have more attraction cues than men, and that is scientific. There's a book about it called Why Women Have Sex. There's 237 reasons they go over why women have sex. So the variance of why women find men attractive is much greater than the variance of why men find women attractive.
You talked about in one of your video clips, woman that has been given a lot of trips is unattractive. But if a man hasn't committed to her, then it's kind of like, what's wrong with her? And there's so many men that I know that they're like, wait a minute, it's unattractive if girls have guys coming up to them. But then other times guys are like, the more men you have, the more he feels like he needs to compete for you. It's like all of these different...
So first off, it was Bismarck who said that. It wasn't me, but I agree with him. In the situation that you're talking about, there's different levels to it. So I'll give you an example. So like Myron and I would disagree on this one point. This is when you were asking me before about being red pill adjacent. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with them completely to the same level that they agree. Mm-hmm. So one, for instance, I would be, and Kylie would be furious when I say this, but like I would be fine dating a girl who was on only wasn't nude.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You understand that. Yeah. Right? So for some people, the concept of only all, you're just complete, you're a
yeah.
There's no other
There's
interpretation.
plenty of celebrities who have only and they're not doing
Yeah. So if a girl did only and was doing bikini shots that she would normally put on IG,
Instagram,
I would not have an issue with. I could date a woman like that. I don't think Myron would, right? Myron would not want a girl who was. He
doesn't even want a girl that's left the house before.
No, and shout out to Angie. She's left the house before. But that's the difference. So like what it is there's a different line. Like some men who are comfortable with their girlfriends having sex with other men. They have an open relationship. These are lines, but these lines are determined by the individual man. There's when we talk about male attraction towards women, and I'm literally talking about like gonads. I'm talking about like blood to the actually attracted to a woman. I'm not talking about things that like, for instance, a woman giving me peace is incredibly like viable, but it's not sexually attractive. It's attractive. It's incredibly, that's the woman who gets the wedding ring, the one who brings me peace. Right. But that's not making my wiener harder, if that makes any sense. Does that make sense?
Is it a Madonna complex, you think?
I don't know. You're talking about the Madonna whore complex. I don't know if that's necessarily the reason why. That's not exactly what I'm talking about here. But like, it's more one of these things where it's like, what are the things that actually make men sexually attracted to women? And it has to do with hip to waist ratio. It has to do with facial symmetry, signs of youth. It has to do with things like that, like clear skin, long, healthy hair. And there's mostly physical things initially. Then when you want to date her, then you look at things like
other finer things.
Correct. Right. But those things that we're talking about, those additional things don't make me physically hornier for her. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so that's where the difference is. For men, horniness and attraction are like synonymous. For women, they're not. There's actually horniness for women, and then there's additional things that she also finds attractive. The idea that a man is not getting hit on by women, that makes him more attractive. No, it makes him safer. That makes him safer.
Yes.
Safe is not attractive.
But it is an attractive quality. If you know that your man is not always getting hit on, you can be super attractive and go somewhere and carry yourself in a way that draws people in.
Yes.
You open up a part of you that's like, hey, I want attention, bring it to me.
Okay.
You can walk out of your house and be an attractive male.
Yes.
And have a kind of stoic, stern, clinical sense to you that doesn't invite.
But women will still come up and find you attractive, even if you are stoic. Consider what I'm saying. What you're doing is you're painting all attraction cues as one flavor, and I'm saying there's some of these things that are called comfort, and they're different from attraction. Like a man being like a dad bod or staying at home or buying you flowers, those are comfort things. Those are not attraction things.
You and I are on the same page with the dad bod thing. I've never understood that except for understanding that some women, and I don't want to call them insecure because that's not what it is.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this experiment. If a woman was dating a man, so she found him sexually attractive enough to have sexual intercourse with him, and then all of a sudden he stays at home, buys her flowers, and is more vulnerable with him, then she finds that more attractive. Yes, that makes sense. But what it is those are comfort cues where she's gaining more power in the relationship. If it was a homeless person...
And you feel like women want that?
No, yeah, I do feel like, what do you... Of course they do.
I feel like more women want to go back into submissive roles and not have power in relationships. They want to be led. They want to be.
There's different dynamics.
care
A man can be stoic and powerful, and then the day his child is born, he cries.
Absolutely. He
yeah.
should be crying when she walks down the aisle. He should be crying
Yes.
when his first child,
For
second
sure.
child, third child's born.
So the dynamic
Yeah.
of a relationship can change over time, like or different. It's contextually day to day.